Check, check, check. 1, 2, late night vlog. Yeah, I'm pretty crazy. Sometimes I vlog at night. The saddest statement said on YouTube. Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Kevin Bartelt, and this is my podcast production vlog called Making Waves. Thanks to everyone again. I like starting these with a little bit of gratitude and just saying thanks to everyone for watching. Got a little bit of a bump, like a dozen or two, a couple dozen or two, probably 1 dozen more views on my last video. And I got some nice messages, people saying that they could relate to the conflating of success, effort with how successful a thing is going to be. And yeah, I really appreciated that. I should add, by the way, it is 10:33 at night on a Thursday. I was planning on doing this in the morning, but I kind of practice a little bit what I'm going to say. And I noticed that as I was kind of going over my mental notes for this vlog, I noticed I was just standing in my kitchen talking out loud to myself for like 15 minutes and was like, why am I not? I should just do this now. Like I'm clearly ready for it. Watch this be my most unhinged vlog yet. It probably will be. Created that false sense of confidence for me that motivated me to just do it right now. So what were we talking about? Now that it's April, this is a like new beginning for me because we last week talked about, the goals and how Q1 went. And now we're focused on the next few months. And I'm not going to be, like on this vlog, for example, I'm going to be focusing on Extra and Mental, my 2 new shows that are going to be coming out pretty soon, both within the next few months. One of them much sooner than the other. Not much sooner, but pretty soon. So I'm going to be talking about both of those shows today. And I think what is, I don't want to say interesting. It's really not that interesting. But now, I don't know. It's just like it's a new chapter. And now that I have survived Tri-Month, which is how I view it, I'm now going to be focusing not all of my effort because I try to make a very noted effort to never abandon any of the shows that I'm working on, even slightly. That being said, Tri-Month took so much effort, as I've discussed. I now feel comfortable being like, okay, I gave that 110%. Let's spend April now a little bit more focused on Extra and Mental, especially because Extra is dropping at the end of the month. I'm very excited and nervous about it, but it's a lot of pressure. And I feel like if it goes poorly, and this isn't even about this show specifically, but just any network show right now, if it goes poorly, it's not going to get renewed. It will just end at the end of the contract. And because if the downloads are bad, the network won't really be incentivized to keep doing episodes. And so the thing that I've noticed is it gets harder and harder to launch a podcast every year, mostly because the market is just so comically, ridiculously oversaturated that it just so quickly gets just lost in the abyss if you don't have the proper marketing support, talent support, production support, network support, everything support. That being said, that is what I'm going to be focusing on with both of these launches. Is I'm really going to put an emphasis in the marketing. I feel confident about the quality of both of these shows. I love all of the hosts. I'm genuinely very excited for people to hear the episodes because I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. Like if this was 3 or 4 years ago, I think I would have spent this time just continuing to edit the show and just banking episodes if we can, and then just releasing it with maybe like asking if it was with a network to do like a post promoting it, and then asking the host to, if it was in the Twitter days, just like retweet it or put it on Instagram. Sorry, I keep playing with the coaster. It's very just tangibly, just the texture feels really good. I got into Yo-Yos a couple months ago. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard you try. I went to Target one day. I got some gifts for my wife's nieces and nephews with her. Then a week later, I was thinking about Yo-Yos. I think I watched a TikTok about Yo-Yos. And then I said, I got to go back to that Target. They said they had 3 in stock, and they didn't. And so I asked someone, do you have this Yo-Yo? And they said, maybe in the back. And I waited 15 minutes. And then she came back and said, oh, sorry. Yeah, here it is. And the texture of the Yo-Yo, has anyone ever said that sentence before? But just the release of it, the sound of it, the feeling when it the Yo-Yo hits the end of the string and then shooting it back up. Get on Yo-Yo TikTok. You will not be disappointed. This was about, podcast production. So normally at this time, I would just be focusing on hey, the show is out. Network, can you do a post? Host, can you do a post? Even that, I'm so non-confrontational, as you probably can tell. I don't even know if I'm going to budge the host that much at that time. And then maybe I try to get them to do one podcast, but I don't, to promote it. And I don't even push that. Maybe any other, I need to take 2 steps back. The marketing people that I've worked with are extremely talented, and they do really great work. Like the people I was working with at Earwolf, it was like an entire marketing department, gang. That was so impressive. Their whole job, an entire department whose jobs were promoting podcasts. Several people, like a full crew of people. And I worked with some, and I'm still friends with them, really talented marketing people. So I was able to just kind of hand it off to them. And then they would take like a 30-second ad read of the host promoting at the show and put it in all these different places. But my job as the producer was just kind of like, hey, here's the 30-second ad. Please run it in some places and then one post. My point is, I didn't think about the marketing that much. And I think a big part of it was because I just saw the shows being released with that amount of effort, not a ton. And that's separate from, again, entire marketing departments, and see the show be like, hey, it's successful. This show that we just launched got 75,000 downloads its first day. Well, this was an appropriate amount of work for it. Again, going back to last week, effort does not equal success. But at that time, it was just like, that was it. Because there's 500,000 less podcasts, people are listening to a smaller pool. Still a decent sized pool, but a significantly smaller pool than today. Since then, I've worked on many shows. I was going to say dozens. That's probably not true. Dozens with this specific category, which is I've worked on many shows in those few years where show comes out, post from the host, post maybe from the network. Like, whoa, that's like 30% of the downloads of a similar show that launched last year, or 60%. Then another one like 6 months later. Whoa, that's a lot smaller too. That's, and then just seeing that listeners aren't hurting for podcasts. They have so many options. So in the last, I would say, year and a half specifically, I have seen, as I start to think more about releasing shows, I am much more aware. I don't want to say sensitive, but I'm just thinking much more about the marketing of the shows than I was in the past. So with this show extra that is coming out at the end of the month, we have several episodes banked right now. 2020 Kevin would just have gone, okay, then I'm just going to spend those few weeks editing these episodes and releasing them. Now I'm going to spend, and I've been spending all week this week and probably all of next week as well, booking the host on several different shows. This is a great brag. On the last vlog that I did, sorry I keep bringing up, on the last vlog, I do that a lot. I keep bringing up the previous vlog, every vlog. But this is important, and this pays off. We set my goals for Q2. One of the goals was I want to have my host guest on 5 shows. We set that number here for both extra and mental. I said it would be great to have my hosts do 5 shows to promote their new podcast. The next day, I had a meeting with the head of the network and a few employees of this network about the launch of said show, which I'm really glad we're doing. We're doing these like recurring weekly meetings to discuss my launches and how they're going leading up to the first episodes coming out. The head of the network said, and I'm not kidding, verbatim, hey, Kevin, with your shows that are coming out, I want to set a goal with you. And the vlog wasn't even out. You're probably guessing where this is going. She said, I want your hosts to do 5 podcasts to promote the show. I held up my legal pad that I wrote that exact number down for this very vlog and was like, I wrote down that exact goal yesterday. So that was a really good feeling, just knowing that I was like on the same wavelength, 100%. With the head of the network. So right now, for one of the shows, I have 3 podcasts confirmed. And for the other one, for mental, same thing, 3 confirmed. I'm shooting for 6. I think I can get 6 for extra, and I want to get like 8 for mental. And so I'm just kind of doing that dance right now, and just spending as much time as I can trying to get all of these guests, third time's a charm, trying to get all of these hosts to guest on all of these podcasts. And the thing that I'm asking the host and the producers of said shows is, can you please release this episode this week, specifically after this day? So that they all come out the same week, and it just puts a bunch of energy toward that first week. So that's kind of where all of my energy has been this week, is just thinking about shows for the host to guest on, reaching out, confirming it, working on the scheduling. You might be watching this right now and feel kind of like a concern. And a valid concern, which is, Kevin, you're so focused on the marketing of the show. Why aren't you spending some of that energy, on making sure the show is actually good, and editing the show to make sure that it's actually good? Well, I feel very confident as an editor that the show is not going to be a lot of like brutal post-production work. And this is a thing that, I talked about a lot in this vlog about, when, a couple of years ago, I would just, spend all that time editing. Well, part of it was I wasn't a very good editor, and I kind of needed to spend several weeks prepping. Since then, I have edited thousands of episodes, and I am right now doing, I think, like 8 episodes a week, probably between 7 and 10 episodes a week. It kind of varies with all these random like monthly episodes that drop. And it's just now part of my routine where I'm editing up a podcast, 1 to 2, used to be sometimes 3 on Tuesday nights, 3 episodes a night. And so I've just like really improved that skill as an editor. And not that I'm going to be, putting all my effort into the marketing and then editing the pilot episode the night before that episode comes out. Obviously, I want the host to hear it and be like proud of it and excited. So I'm going to be doing that as well. But I just don't want you to see this and see like now Mr. like suit and tie business Kevin. And it's like, let's focus on marketing the product and not the product itself. I've recorded like 6 episodes of the show already. I feel comfortable and confident about the product itself. So now I'm spending these few weeks leading up to it. Not all of the weeks leading up to it, but definitely a couple, trying to lock in all of this promo stuff. And, this is kind of like the fascinating thing about podcast producing is the multiple hats you wear. So like my first several weeks with them was producer hat, figuring out the production of the show. What did we think big picture and, kind of episode by episode, what the show should be, who were types of people we would want to have on, what were the conversations we think would be fun or interesting or entertaining or funny, probably most importantly. Then took that hat off and then threw on the engineer hat, recording hat, and recorded hours and hours and hours of content. And, before I take that hat off and put on the editing hat, I am putting on the marketing hat, which is a hat I have not worn a lot, but I am trying to become more and more comfortable wearing, because I think it is easier to grow a show when it has a strong beginning rather than a slow and steady. I mean, this sounds kind of ridiculous. It's like the best case scenario is like a strong start and then it continues to grow. That's my dream for all of the shows I work on, but especially these two new ones is I want to have a really, really strong start and a lot of that marketing effort, like 75% of it to all kind of flash that first week. And then still having important, valuable marketing support throughout the run. This is a frustration I have sometimes is marketing effort 100% being put into the launch and then just being dropped after that. It's very important that that marketing support continues throughout the show's, course, essentially. I don't want all of the marketing effort just to be for that like 5-day period. But it is a very important 5-day period, which I'm learning. So guesting on all these shows, trying to get some promo swaps where this person will do an ad read for us and we'll do an ad read for them. All of that kind of stuff going into those few weeks. Then probably like 10 days before the launch, that's when I'm going to throw the editor's hat on and say, all right, let's cut these down and get them in a place where we feel really confident. So because I edit so much, I feel very confident as an editor. And I think part of that too is I try very hard to work with people that make my job as easy as possible. That sounds very lazy and selfish, but I mean, that's what hosts want from their producers, engineers, and their team is they're hiring them to make their lives easier. That's literally why you hire someone in podcast production, is so that they can take on the work that you don't want to do or that stuff that you need help with. And I feel like the give and take for that in my 10th year doing this is I now want to work with people who also make my life easier. And that doesn't mean that I only want to work with people who have 10 years of podcasting experience. I'm very excited to work with someone who's never podcasted before, but I just want to work with people who, are comfortable and confident on mic, good interviewers, know how to make an interesting episode. I recorded, and I'm not going to say the show, I recorded an episode of a show last week, and to put it nicely, I don't think it was a good episode. It was fine and cordial and whatever, but I was just sitting there the whole time thinking, I'm going to have to spend so much time editing this show. More time than this, definitely more time than the recording is. I mean, of course, you would spend more time than the recording is. My point is, it was just one of those episodes where you're just like, this is going to take like 3 episodes worth just for this one. And it was frustrating. I was like, I drove home frustrated. Probably should have said something. We'll find a way to maybe subtly mention it if it becomes a recurring issue, which I don't think it will be. And hey, that's part of it too, is not every episode's dynamite, you know? Sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking, this is going to be a long night. And whatever, you know, it happens. My point is, I try to have like a good eye and have good taste, and try to be very keen and aware of who I'm working with. And part of it is I want to work with people who raise the bar for me, and because I'm trying to raise the bar for them. And I also want to work with people who care about their show and they're proud of their show, and they give their show and their audience the respect that, you know, they deserve. So that's everything with Extra right now. I'm going to be focusing on the marketing and promo side, having weekly meetings leading up to the launch. And, you know, to be completely honest with you, I feel very excited and happy. It's funny saying, to be completely honest with you, I feel pretty excited. I feel happy that I'm having these weekly meetings with the network, because it's truly just like a check-in. How do we feel about this? How do we feel about this? Here's the other thing with check-ins is it also holds all parties accountable. Like, that's what a check-in is. And what I like about this is our last check-in, and this is why I do these vlogs too, my last check-in with them was like, here's the 3 things I'm going to do. Here's the 3 things you guys are going to do. We'll see you next week. I, you know, have to have that shit ready, because if like we both show up and it's like, oh, I didn't really do my thing, and they're like, we didn't really do our thing, I can't really be like, hey, you guys have to step up, because they would understandably say you didn't step up. So I want to, for every single one of those weekly meetings, be like, here's the 3 things I said I was going to do. I actually did 5 of them. How are you guys doing? And so this is kind of how I feel as like a freelancer working with a network that is providing network support, is I really want both parties, both me and them, to be bringing their A game. And so I really like that we're doing these, and I really want us to keep having meetings like this. They don't have to be weekly after the launch of the show, but kind of what I was talking about earlier, I don't want these shows to lose the love and support that they're feeling right now after the show launches. So like, even I don't even know if it has to be a monthly meeting, but like definitely like a quarterly meeting with like me, the host if they want, and the network. And the network is down for stuff like this too. So I just kind of feel like these check-ins are also, you know, they're accountability check-ins. You know, are we all bringing to the table what we said we were going to be? So I like that. And this is, again, a good excuse for these vlogs, is like all these check-ins, they feel good because it's so easy for me. I mean, this is like a perfect segue into like me dropping the ball with Twitch and a little bit with YouTube stuff. Is what is the one thing that I'm like working on right now that is not like with other hosts and, you know, host, I guess, talent, is my YouTube stuff and my Twitch stuff. I book the guests and stuff. So with that, it's easier for me because there's no check-in with a boss to be like, oh, I'm busy with all of the podcasts I'm working on, which is 100% true. How about I take this week off of Twitch? And the next Monday, I have a recording that's kind of near that time and I won't be able to do 2. Oh, and then the Monday I'm doing this other show, so I can't. And all of a sudden, I haven't done it for 3 weeks. And that consistency is super important in Twitch, in YouTube, in podcasting. And so because I don't have that peer pressure of a host texting me like, why did the episode not come out? I've been more comfortable, I guess, just like having to miss stuff so that I can keep all the podcasts afloat. So honestly, a Q2 goal that I should have set for myself is to make sure that I'm streaming, if not every week, every other week. That was definitely the first 2+ months of this, was every Monday doing Podcast Simulator. And I did this really popular Twitch show on Monday, Everything Now show, and I had a blast. I did it with Luke Taylor, my buddy. Go check it out. There's a YouTube version of it that we'll put in the description, and it was so much fun. And I just had like and we got drinks after, we went to a bar and all chatted, just talked like streaming and podcasting and YouTube production and behind the scenes. And dude, that's what it's all about, man. It was like, this is a blast. This is the dream. And so kind of like a novice mistake is like doing a huge show like that, getting a bunch of followers and then not converting on it. And then like not streaming after is tough. So that being said, I'm going to do, by the time this comes out, it will have already happened, but I'm recording this Thursday night. Friday morning, I am going to do like a Twitch Q&A where I have a bunch of, it's a Q&A where I wrote the Q's that I'm going to so my own Q&A with the chat, I'm sure asking questions, all things podcasting, what else is new? Just having some coffee and answering a bunch of podcast questions. So you can check that out on Twitch. And maybe it'll be on YouTube, depending on how sloppy it goes. Wow, Kevin, set yourself up for success, my guy. So yeah, my point is, when you feel the pressure of the host that you work with, because they pay you to make the show, it's so easy. Like the first thing to go, no surprise, is the thing that's just you. And that's a bummer because you're sacrificing the thing that you really enjoy doing. I didn't really know if I had a point with that, if you're working with other people that rely on you, amazing. However, make sure that you make time for the things that you enjoy doing as well, even if they are solo activities. So that's a good life lesson as well. So we've talked about extra. Let's talk a little bit about mental. And then I'll try to think of anything else that I might have missed. Mental's doing well. I feel a little bit more stressed with that. More stressed with some things, less stressed with others. More stressed because we're still doing these like multi-hour long recordings. The show's not coming out for a couple months. And we have a lot of stuff banked, and I'm trying to do the same thing that I'm doing with Extra, where I'm booking the host on a ton of shows. So I think what helps with Extra is we're not recording right now. We have so much stuff banked. We're kind of like pausing for a couple weeks because we can. So it's very easy for me to spend that time that we're not recording, booking them on shows. What's tricky and challenging about Mental is we are recording stuff that takes pre-production work. My extremely talented co-producer is handling a lot of it, a bulk of it, frankly, if not a big bulk of it. And I am spending time just trying to book him on as many shows as I can, trying to get those people. I'm focused on guest swaps, essentially, of like, hey, these really famous podcasters you're going to do their show. And I'm going to try to get them to do your show when we're next recording. So where the co-producer is kind of working on the day-to-day stuff, like this segment will do this thing will do this. He's killing it on those things. And I'm trying to look at the guesting stuff and managing the multi-person team that we have. So it's just a little bit more stressed with that because we are like doing these multi-hour long recordings, trying to bank as much as we can. And I'm trying to get him on as many shows as I can. So juggling a few more balls with that, really one, but it's a big ball to juggle. That's what I said. Jesus Christ. It's 11 o'clock. I got to go to bed. So that's what's going on with Mental right now. I am afforded a little bit more time with that show. So a little bit of that pressure is removed because it's not launching later this month, essentially. That is kind of all of the big updates with Extra and Mental. Again, feeling very nice how cleanly like Tri-Month ended, going right into just spending time on these two new shows. And as I was discussing with Handbook, now that I have this nice clean cut with how Tri-Month ended and going into the new shows, Handbook, I want to focus on banking episodes, both scheduling episodes and making sure I have the next few weeks all confirmed with the guest. That takes an immense amount of food off my plate. That's a bad thing, though. I want food on my plate. Weight off my chest. That's what I want. What if the food is a plate that's on your... Kevin, in 5 more minutes, you can play with the yo-yo, but you have to focus. So you know the drill. Trying to have a few episodes scheduled, ideally 1 or 2 always banked. I'm traveling a lot, was gone out of town last week. I'm going to be out of town again in a couple weeks. I'm very busy right now. So again, for that reason as well, I want to have stuff always banked and scheduled and not trying to figure out stuff last minute. I mean, as you know, that Hollywood Handbook universe, it's pretty big. We have Handbook, the Pro version, the Flagrant Ones, Filthy Ones. 4 shows a week are coming out there. It's a lot of work. The fastest, the easiest thing I can do right now is just always making sure at least the next 2 to 3 weeks are all roughly locked in. Roughly locked in. That's right. So focusing on guests, getting some fan favorites back in the mix. As you know, we had Julie Klausner back on this week. I have a few people I'm working with trying to get them on. And so, feeling good about that. And then just spending the rest of my energy growing the Patreon. When we talked last week, I was at 38,100 on the Patreon. And then when I recorded it, we were at that. When the episode came out, we were at 38,300. Then it dropped like $500 to 37,800. But then it went back up to 38K, which is good. It normally gets a bigger drop off, and it didn't. So, knock on wood, hopefully by the time this comes out, there's not another drop of $500. There might be. So I'm carefully monitoring that number because I set the goal last week for $40,000 by the end of June. And if there's a big drop off this week, where if we're at like 37,400, that $2,600 bump is going to be unrealistic. So if we stay at 38K, I feel eagerly, cautiously optimistic, and a little bit, falsely confident that we could do it. So that's everything with the Patreon. And I think that's everything for right now. So like I said, going to be trying to do like a Q&A tomorrow on Twitch, and we'll see how that goes. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, throw them in the comments. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, which I should have probably done 45 minutes ago, that's okay. Please subscribe. I'm so freaking close to 900. I'm at 890 right now, and I would love to. Once I get to 1,000, I think I can like actually monetize and like put ads and stuff, and then the YouTube can make money, and then that's a whole other thing. But was that pathetic? Please subscribe so I can make money. Sorry. I guess that's the part of the plug you don't see people say. Hey, like and subscribe so I can get rich. No, I'm very close to being able to basically be like a verified YouTube content creator. And so I'm very excited about that. And I'm 110 subs away from that, which is very cool. So thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed and been watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, I encourage you to do it. And, you can get notified about when I'm releasing these videos. If you have any suggestions, throw them in the comments. I enjoy the feedback. I got a lot of great suggestions about like future tri-month episodes, tri-months, and for Hollywood Handbook, and maybe some ideas. And it's helpful. Like I appreciate the outsider's perspective. So thanks everyone for watching. And it's very late and I'm going to bed. So good night.